Hello, fellow Unravelers, and welcome to Unravel. This is a space for reflection on unraveling from mind, integrating shadow, and coming into deeper self-awareness. So before we pull out the cards and start reflecting on or presencing whatever's arising in the moment, let's just take some deep damn breaths, okay? Yeah, there's just a need to really just check in with how we're feeling right now, where we're at. Just sitting here witnessing that the body is leaning forward, so I'm just adjusting and leaning back into the back body and just bringing some breath in. So this part of this video is where we slow down and tune in and just be with ourselves. Like, just pause, stop. And yeah, I feel like for a lot of us there's this need to really just stop. And I'm hearing this, there's this kids there's this classroom songy thing, etiquette thing, where we go, everybody stop, hands on top, and for some reason that's coming into mind, which is a bit funny. But essentially it's just about, hey, can we just pause here for a minute? Can we pause and listen even? Can we pause and listen? And when I say listen, I don't necessarily mean listen to what is happening outside of us. I'm speaking to slowing down, pausing, and listening within from an inward capacity. So I'm just personally going to shut the eyes down if you are listening to this on the podcast, because there's this sense of rushing this process, and I'm just presencing that. There's also just become aware that I've got my shoes on, so I'm going to pull that off. So as I'm going through these, like witnessing what needs to be changed, or how we can bring more sort of comfort into the session, you don't need to fix anything. It's just about bringing awareness to what is being felt, being sensed, being experienced. So you can either witness it, but if obviously there are points of discomfort, then there's that invitation to adjust. So let's just take a couple of deep breaths while we're here. So you can do this however you like. I'm presently breathing in through the nose for 4 and breathing out through the mouth. I mean, that is a way that you can do it, but there's a sense of holding that in and out breath for longer. Yeah, this is I'm just presencing as you're breathing. I'm just going to talk through what's being noticed within this body here. There's a inhalation, and there's this extra inhalation before there's an exhalation. I'm not sure if there's any significance to that. Doesn't need to be, but it's a very odd breath for me personally. I'm just presencing that. As if to say, like, that breath needs to be deeper. There needs to be more of a slowing down process. So when we're inhaling, it's an upregulation, and when we're exhaling, it's a downregulation. So there's something about upregulation, like needing to be more conscious of the word stimulus or stimuli is wanting to be present. And let's be honest, this has been a theme since May, this noise, this distraction. But this may be internal. I don't feel like this is external. This is internal processes happening. So there's this sense of needing to focus. And again, that has also been a theme. But let's bring our attention back to the screen if your eyes are shut, in your own time, of course, and see what this is actually trying to, how this is trying to inform. Yeah, so there's also just a sense of holding onto or holding onto something, whether that's your literal breath, or whether that's patterns, beliefs, programming, ideas, people, things, objects. So let's pull some cards on this and see what's going on. Okay, I'm already getting direction as to what deck to use first. So I've just seen the Tantra card. Diana showing up in the reverse. Let's do one more. So first card out, we have Atman. So I'm just, if you're listening to this, I'm just holding the card up so you can get your own impressions on how this card resonates with you, or what you can pick up from it. So this is a sense of deeper awareness, deeper consciousness with this card. However, there's also this presence of real deep focus, and ideally that is not something that is always possible. From the outset, right? Like, we're programmed to think that being in a space of meditation or being in a space of tuning into self needs to be an actual action, as in it's something that we need to do. So we need to sit down and meditate, or we need to engage in breath work. It's not necessarily the case. It's about being present. It's about present awareness, about the now moment. That's who we really are, is the now. Just going to pull out the guidebook to give us some more context. Knew it was at the front. So Atman is infinite aspect of the soul. You have begun to see the glimpses of divinity that exist within you. There is so much more to experience. You are filled with limitless potential and have realized that the only obstacles that exist are within your mind. You have reached a deeper connection to your higher self, the immortal aspect of your experience, the very seed of your soul, Atman. Your meditation has unveiled hidden depths to your truth. Okay, what is going on? Like, I'm gonna leave it there because I think that got the gist of the card, and I'm starting to mince words. So this is about being in a space of really tuning into self, into the true essence of who you are, not the 3D form version of who you think you are. This is pure presence awareness. And I'm just getting some more cards. Pure presence awareness, beingness, operating from the here and the now, not the projected future or holding on to the past, which is in and of itself really hard to do for a lot of us. Or is it? Is this a story that we are telling ourselves about what that's supposed to look like? I'm seeing the word pattern. This may be a pattern of thought. Or a looping even. Oh, okay. There's something significant about the triangle or pyramid shape. I'm not sure why. Because the attention was being drawn to this card, which is at the bottom of the deck, Dharma, which is another word for purpose. And the attention was being drawn to the top of this triangle or pyramid structure, and then the past life card came out, which if you're listening has a pyramid on it. So and in the back of the deck we've got the full moon, which on the card also has a full moon, and I believe we're heading into one soon, not because I know the current planetary aspects, but because you can see the phases of the moon. So I'm not sure what that is, but I said at the start there was something about holding on to something, and with this past life card, what past or old beliefs are you needing to release around this time, or whenever it is that you come across this video? Really start inquiring into what it is that you don't need anymore. Is there even an awareness of it? Because one moment. There may not be awareness of it even. Let's get some more. Might be to do with connections, friendships. We've got karmic path. So we've got past life, friendship, and karmic path. So what this is telling me is that this may be to do with either a connection or friendships, either the actual friendship itself or beliefs around friendships that may need to be released, or that need to be inquired into, as in, like, is this friendship working? Am I holding on to something that is no longer working? Am I holding on to something that has done its karmic, how does that want to be said? has run its, thank you, has run its karmic course. I've got the karmic path here. So has it run its karmic course? And friendships are tough, right? Like, especially if it's a friendship that was quite significant or meaningful, or there's a lot of history there with the past life here. You know, perhaps you were childhood friends, or perhaps you grew up together. But why is this coming up in relation to the present moment? It's like sometimes we hold on to things for particular reasons, whatever that is, whether that's fear of the unknown is being presenced, whether that is deeply conditioned beliefs about friendships. So for example, not being able to hold on to friendships or connections. There was something else floating around. Not being able to make good connections. That may be some significance there, because releasing friendships can be very, very challenging. And I'm not in any way saying, you know, drop your friends, leave your friends. That's not the purpose of this space. This is about getting you to inquire within yourself which friendships, which connections, which relationships are not working, are not even aligned. So when you're in this space of really being with yourself and stepping into, that is continually wanting to be said, stepping into, and it's not really, it's more a retraction back to. So you're not stepping into anything, you're not doing anything per se, you are coming back into, back within. So the more that you strip back all these layers, what can happen is you kind of, as you're moving through life and you're navigating things, you become more aware of, how does this want to be said very gently? You become aware of the falsity, the falseness, the illusion of the way things are currently being operated, is what's wanting to be said. How can I explain this in a way that is not too wishy-washy, but is helping you go within and really questioning? So for example, I'll give you a real life example. I'm not on social media, but I do use WhatsApp with family, friends, people that know me, and you know, you're part of certain groups within that space. So we all got sent a funny video, and I watched the video, and perhaps in the past that would have made me laugh, but now watching it today, I just didn't find it funny at all. I thought it was pretty mediocre, is what's wanting to be said. So this is what can happen, what can present itself when you're stepping into a different, please be aware, when I say stepping into, I don't mean you're coming from a space of doership. There's still a lot of untangling with language that's happening here. So yeah, when I say stepping into this, it's not coming from a space of doership. It is really just leaning, as I said at the start of this video, leaning back into what already is, right? Who you already are. So the more that's happening, the more things will become really frivolous and meaningless and senseless. And some might see that as a negative thing. They may put some type of negative projection onto it, but it's not. There's just clarity about how ridiculous and how silly certain things are that we do without even knowing it, or we may be so unaware of like cultural and social programming that we just go along with it. I don't know why that was said, but I'm gonna just leave that there. So the bottom of the deck, we've got knowledge. So as you're going on this process, there's not this outwardly knowledge, there's more just clarity and more space for things just to become super, super clear. And you just start seeing things for what they really are. And during that process, you know, there may be friendships, connections, relationships, however you want to piece that just might seem a bit off. And it's not necessarily that they're off, it's just that you're just vibing on a different frequency, right? You're detaching from object, you're detaching from thought, you're detaching from form. So the more you go within, the more these things become really like, I can't believe I used to find that funny. It's not. It's actually quite mediocre. And so just be aware of that process and not necessarily label it or name it to be anything. It literally is like the peeling of an onion, right? Not that you get to any gooey center or anything like that, but it's just peeling back these layers of societal programming and conditioning, cultural even, but definitely mental. So not sure why the Dharma card is underneath this deck, but I do find it interesting that was seen and noticed. Triangles. Perhaps there's, you know, needing to witness any types of patterns within triangular formulations in your experience right now. As in identification with other, identification outside of just the sense of oneness. I don't know. That's very interesting. Let's see if we can grab some other. I'm going to leave that there. Let's see if we can get some more insights here. What do we want? Okay, we're wanting star codes, which is a bit interesting. Yeah, so this is just an invitation to really question where your friendships. And again, if you are realizing that things just don't resonate with you anymore, certain friend groups don't resonate, you're starting to shift from like from a particular echo chamber, right? If you're starting to notice that, you don't necessarily have to say, hey, we can't be friends anymore, because, you know, like that type of vibe. It's just bringing awareness to it, because you don't need to do anything. It'll sort itself out. So, you know, there may be this undercurrent of what was that? There may be this undercurrent of needing to fix a certain friendship or situation, or do something about it, as in try to put more effort in. I don't know why that's being said. But this karmic path is standing out really strong and firm, and that can mean the ending of things. And as I said with those 2 full moon depictions, it's okay to release things that are not working, but you don't need to release it in the physical sense, as in cut people off. It's just a natural progression that'll happen. But the sense that what is being present here is this need to shift that within your own experience, as in be okay with the possibility that things will just have to flow away. They need to flow away in order for you to come into a space of who you are. There's this almost need to accept that there's a strong possibility that this is going to be part of this navigation of self, and to be okay with that, be accepting of it. If this is making sense to you, do let me know. I've got the Beloved Venus card. So this can again speak to romantic connections, friendship connections, family connections even. And it did come out in the reverse. And, you know, oracle cards aren't usually read in reverse. This deck here, the Yogic Path by Sahara Rose, that one, which is where I got the Atman card from, that one is an exception because they do have reverse and upright meanings to them, but not every card is read in reverse. And yeah, there's just awareness being brought to the fact that it did come out in reverse, and that we are talking about friendships, we're talking about connections, perhaps for some even family relationships that may not be, and I'm seeing the community card, so if not, you know, one-to-one connections, then maybe a community of people, that friend group, as I just said, you know, that was in a particular group on WhatsApp. You know, perhaps you're just not seeing things the way that everybody sees them, or how you used to see them. You're shifting. That's funny. Review, retrograde. And that did come out in the reverse as well. So when we go through planetary retrogrades, it's an opportunity to go back to previous, within the planetary configuration, things, depending on where the retrograde is, those are the things that need to be reviewed or addressed, readdressed, I should say. We're going back to. So there's this interesting sense of like going back to something, or looking back at something. But again, there's this strong need to just be grounded in the now. It is not, and I'm not saying don't reflect on past connections, don't reflect on friendships, don't reflect on community. That's not what's being said here. It's just bringing awareness to it and starting to inquire. What is the significance of this card showing up in the reverse, seeing as it is a reverse card? Loneliness was present before. The person or form on this card is by itself. So this may be a very much internalized process. And not everyone can come along for the ride, right? We hear that saying a lot. Not everyone can go on the journey. Sometimes it's a very internalized process. However, there's something wanting to be present about the oneness. And also affecting change. The only way we can affect change is if we do the work. What does that look like? It's going to look different for everybody. It's going to be about really inquiring into self, inquiring into what our programs are, what our narratives are, what we consume, how we move through the world. This process of review is going to look different for everybody based on where you're at, what experiences you have got going in your life. But also, as I said before about the loneliness, it might feel like a very lonely process, but this is a collective thing here. So there are many people that are in this space here, but it might not be very obvious because it is a very internalized process. However, when shifts like this happen, people notice and you notice. I don't know why this is being said. It feels like kind of all over the place, but stick with me here. When you're moving on a different frequency, that gets noticed, right? It gets noticed by you. It gets witnessed by you. It gets witnessed by those around you, and either people around you naturally gravitate towards you and you move together, or there's this sense, and I use that word strongly, sense of separation. There's no sense of separation. It is, no. Let's rephrase that. There is no separation. There's a sense of separation, but there is no true separation. There cannot be, because we are all one. We're all the now. But the quote unquote separation is necessary because it's done its course. It has done what it needed to do. It's taught you the lesson that you needed to learn. It's helped you become clearer on who you are. So it's okay to mourn friendships. It's okay to mourn connections. It's okay to grieve them, but don't hang out in that energy. Don't hang out in that space, because what happens when we remove the noise, the distraction, is we allow more space. And what gets inputted into that space when we are space itself is just limitless. It's limitless. Let's get one more from this deck, and then we'll use some tarot. What tarot? Leo shine. So we've got Leo shine, and this is about self. This is about authenticity. This is about being who you really are. It's about bravery, courage, and also about connections. Leo, the Leo archetype is very much a heart-centered archetype, very much from the heart. Even though, and I can just hear people saying, no, Leos are very much, there was this narrative about Leos being conceited and being full of themselves and just, put all the things here that the negative projections people lay onto Leos. It's just because they're confident, they know who they are, they don't make any apologies for it, they're bold, and they are authentic as fuck. And now I'm not just saying that because I'm Leo rising, but well, the archetype of Leo, I myself am not that. But this form is the archetype of Leo rising. But this is a powerful, powerful how does this want to be said? There's just the presencing of the word indicator. And, let's reflect on what life would look like if more people, and obviously I'm speaking to concepts and objects here, but if more of us operated from this heart-centered space, from this authentic knowing who we are, not projecting to other people, just being self, how much and how quickly the collective frequency would shift. Right? Like if we're in our fully empowered Leo archetype, we operate in a way that is bold and daring and honest and authentic. Interesting. And I did see the number 5 on that card, and the 5 is a number of change. So I'm not sure why the attention was drawn there, but there is an opportunity for a huge shift here. And we've been hearing people talk about this for a little while now, and I used to speak about this as well too in the past, about the feminine energy rising, right? This rise of feminine energy, which is irrespective of gender. This is speaking to qualities of heart, qualities of love and nurture and compassion. These are all archetypes. So okay, what tarot? We'll see. We'll see what is going on here. Okay. This deck was chosen, but it is a bitch to shuffle, so bear with me, please. Because the cards are, it's a great deck, but the stock is a little hard. It's quite hard. It's harder than your usual deck, so shuffling it with small hands can be slightly problematic. So I'm splitting the deck and shuffling that way. And I've just seen the Strength, and look who is there. That's Leo's, my friend. Leo archetype. All right. Let's see. Let's get a couple of tarot. So we've got the Three of Swords, Two of Cups, Two of Swords. Yeah. So perhaps this, you know, reflection is about past hurt, past betrayal for some, but some deep-seated pain, perhaps regarding, oh, dare I say the word, this is not a predictive by any means, but it's presenting itself, so let's say it. What was that word? Triangle? Perhaps some type of triangle in regards to friendships, connections, because that was mentioned before. The triangle was mentioned before the Three of Swords came out. And when people, sorry, I've just dropped my card as usual. Oh, and it's showing me the downward, so moving from more to one as well. When people usually talk about the Three of Swords, but more in a predictive way, they talk about third party, they talk about three people. Excuse me. Perhaps there's releasing of connections within a three situation. I don't know, like you places, however, you know, it arises to you when you see these cards, if you're watching this. This space is not for predictive tarot or cards or anything like that. There's definitely a shift in the space. However, it's presenting itself, so I'm going to make mention of it because there is a triangle here on the past life card. There's a pyramid. But this could also speak to inquiring into needing certain connections, needing to search with outside of yourself for whatever it is that you're looking for, right? Deep down, we're just wanting to remember who we are. So with that Dharma card that's presented itself to me again, falling on the floor, upside down, where the triangle is upside down, this is about coming into your own, how does this want to be said? I hope this is making sense, but again, this will make sense to whoever is meant to be here. This is about really focusing internally, focusing within yourself, and not worrying so much about what is happening externally. I know it's easier said than done, but this is about moving away from this type of energy where you are holding on to past hurt, holding on to past pain, holding on to past ideas. and coming into deeper connection instead of outside of yourself, coming into deeper connection with yourself. The other cards, I mean, seriously, Two of Cups and Two of Swords. Speaking here, this is definitely about some kind of connections. And we've got that Leo at the top here. This is speaking to friendships. Or connections with two people of an emotional nature. A merging of sorts. For some, this might be contractual in nature. So if you're listening, I'm just holding up the card so people can, who are watching, can gain their own types of impressions from these cards. This card is representing union to me. Like union of the external and internal. And check this out. So this is the Two of Swords card, and then the Friendship card has this type of sword crossover as well. And then yeah, so the Two of Swords can speak to decisions, weighing up options. It has come underneath the Karmic Path card. So what that indicates, as I'm looking at it, feels like, again, there may be the sense of needing to make a decision about releasing these friendships, but it's part of this karmic process that's already in motion, that you don't have to do anything about it. It'll just naturally, I don't know why the words impede itself is coming in. And I mean, even just looking at the card, she's looking pretty damn comfortable over there. Just chilling out, arms crossed, blindfold on. I think she's pretty okay, even though, you know, the card archetype is about, or the symbolicism of it is talking to, you know, being indecisive. I think deep down she is pretty damn comfortable where she is. Because to be sitting with your feet crossed, arms crossed, blindfold on, not being able to see anything, that feels like some type of comfort in knowing that things will end without necessarily having to do anything in terms of, like, how does this want to be said? Like, okay, allowing it to happen. So removing this idea of control, removing this perception that we have to make decisions to control a situation. This is not it. This is about just bringing awareness to the fact that, okay, these things are not working. It's not in alignment. But there is some type of feeling of surrender. There's some type of feeling of being, perhaps not fully accepting, but, you know, perhaps the not knowing, how does that want to be said? Yeah, I just don't feel like this needs to be an outward process. This may be completely internal, needing to bring awareness to what's happening, or how things are not fitting, how things are not connecting for you anymore. And that might just be enough. Like, you might not need anything outside of that, if that makes sense. On the bottom of the deck, we have the High Priestess in the reverse. So, you know, this is about not really tuning in, not really listening, not being with yourself. The High Priestess upright is a very intuitive, you know, can be secretive, can hold things to themselves type of archetypal energy, but in the reverse, there may be things that are withheld, or things that are not being seen, or I feel in the context of the cards that are out here, really not listening to, whether you want to call it intuition, or not really slowing down enough to tune in. That was said at the start as well about wanting to rush through this process, and doing that, rushing through this, might not, trying to control the situation by rushing is not going to be to anyone's benefit. This needs to be a natural, it will be a natural progression. I mean, I'm speaking to a certain collective here, so, you know, if that's not the impression, if you need to, for sure, just say, you know what, I cannot. You put some boundaries up, even with that crossing, putting some boundaries up, that is okay too, right? This is just opening up a conversation as to possibilities, and trying to illustrate a possible different perspective. Okay, let's pull out some, what do we got time for? Some bonus cards, and we will pull from, yeah, right, let's go with you. We'll pull from the Star, what is this one? Sorry, Star Seed Oracle. The Great Severing. Ooh. Mars energy, anger, conflict, softening to love. So, I mean, without really looking at the card, as in looking at the description and the meaning of the card, if this is in relation to these friendships that have created, you know, perhaps some type of reactions within you, but I feel like this is talking about a literal, the great severing, you know, having to pull yourself away from potential activated spaces or people, and moving into a more loving, heart-centered Leo type archetypal space, you know, really being with and feeling into compassion and love and stepping away from, you know, the hate and the noise and the distraction. I will read what it says. I don't use this deck very often. Oh my goodness, and I'm yawning. So yeah, maybe there's also a need to just chill the fuck out. Really get some sleep, get some rest. This may have been a very energetically draining or emotionally draining, even spiritually draining process. This is a shadow card, one that may feel confrontational. Don't be afraid. It's here to bring to the surface anything that's standing in the way of letting love in. The warring planet of Mars is our constant reminder that it's important to soften, forgive, and find our way back to love. There are many things in the human experience that make it difficult for our heart and soul to stay open to the never-ending source of love. We're all wounded, and our unconscious wounds inflict wounds on others. It can feel like a never-ending dance we can never escape. If we aren't careful, before long we'll see the world as a scary, dangerous place where fear and anxiety roam free. If this card surfaces, it could be for two reasons. First, for you to acknowledge the difficult emotions, situations, conflicts, wounds, and fears that are causing pain and anxiety. And secondly, to find your way back to love. So it keeps going on, but I don't think I need to. You get the gist. It's pretty much speaking to, it's summarizing everything we've spoken about here, is to releasing, and whether that's a mental or not a mental, whether that's an internal process that's happening or physically things are being removed from your field. It might not be a very nice or comfortable type of situation for some, but it definitely needs to happen. This is unfortunately, like, well, it's not fortunate or unfortunate, it just is, right? This needs to happen. This part of this has reached its end and it's needing a shift. And in order to acknowledge and accept that shift, there needs to be acknowledgement of end as well. I hope that makes sense. So there needs to be awareness that it's okay for things to, it's just, I guess, you know, what we say in the world, it's just life. Like, things end, things change, things shift. But it's not, let's not label this as the end, okay? We are very cyclical, fluid, and when I say fluid, I mean energetically fluid. We're energy, right? Energy is constantly shifting, constantly changing. So do not limit yourself to what you see on the screen or what you see in front of you. Do not limit yourself to the interactions that you're currently having. Be open-minded to how source, God, presence, self, however it is that you phrase the oneness of what we are, Brahman, and that's Brahman. That's gone out. And that's okay, right? So this is actually a good segue, because it's just like, things are, it's okay. It's okay for things not to be held onto too tightly. It's okay to let go of ideas that have left you, or it's okay for friendships to end, or connections to end, to make a room for something else to be experienced by self. So yeah, Anyway, I'm gonna leave it there, otherwise I end up waffling. So thank you so much for being here. Let me know in the comments or whatever, wherever you are, if this resonated with you, if it's making sense to you. And yeah, let's connect. If you're not watching this on YouTube, if you're listening to this on the podcast, or you're watching it on Rumble, or you're reading the summarized version of Substack, connect with me there. Let's have a conversation. Thank you so much for tuning in and being with yourself, you know, giving yourself, allowing yourself the time, not even the time, but allowing yourself to slow down. This is purposefully a slow space, or a space for us to slow down. It's done so purposefully and very intentionally. So if you find yourself here, if you've arrived here somehow, and there's some agitation with the slowness, if you have actually even gotten to this point, I applaud you so much. It used to, and I'm gonna talk about this while I'm packing up, it used to agitate me watching like Eckhart Tolle, because he used to speak really slowly. He would take so many pauses. I would be like, get to the fucking point. But I get it now. I totally get it. I so get it. So yeah, this space is intentionally slow for that very reason, to allow us to integrate what we're hearing, to allow us to feel into what's true in the moment. Because if we're speaking too fast, which is something that I do tend to do sometimes and have done in the past, and I'm doing it now, we miss it. We miss those little snippets of grace. We miss the good shit. So slow down, my friend, and you'll notice things starting to change and open up your world in a way that you could not have possibly imagined. And it doesn't look like what we think it looks like. It's just peaceful, man. It's so much more peaceful. I can definitely speak to that. Still a process, still navigating it all, but yeah, it's very interesting. That's all I'll say about it. Okay. See, I told you, waffling on. Thank you so much. I'll catch you in the next video. Mwah.